The clock is 17:03. It's Friday the 15th February 2019 and we are live. I've just heard a woman speak about hell and that she was with Jesus. It's always amusing to hear other people's confessions about their dreams. That one is just a proof of a spiritual reality. Because I believe, maybe you believe that too, that in the start of everything, the spirit was born. And later on, God made a human being and give the spirit a body. It might be like that. But it is like that. I'm not sure. But I can, from my word to you, I can definitely say that some kind of energy that's not visible is a reality. Where it really comes from, I'm not totally sure that I can tell you where it's from because I think it is. I think there's many answers to that one. Maybe in ourselves. Maybe from the area you live in. Maybe it is connected to some material thing. Maybe. So if a spirit can live everywhere, it can appear everywhere in ourselves, in every area where we live. And if it's not physical, yeah, of course it can enter us in a way. Let me put it out in a different way. If you was not physical and you could still think in a way, yeah, in a way, how would you use that invisibility to come around? I know definitely some of the things I would do. I don't know about this the same for you. If you are a teenage, maybe in the 13, 14 years old, I definitely know where you maybe would go. Yeah, of course you would enter the bathroom, in the gym, looking on all the girls when they take all the clothes off, maybe. If you could touch their clothes, maybe you would touch their clothes. If you could do something or this and that, maybe you would do something in a smart way. If you could do it. If there's somebody you hate, yeah, maybe you would enter their home and maybe you would be a pain in the ass for them. If you could, yeah, why shouldn't you? If you have the possibility to do it. If you did not belong nowhere when you was alive, maybe you want to be everywhere. If everybody was evil against you, yeah, maybe you want to be evil against everybody. See, when we demonize something, maybe we demonize our own reality. It's like this. You understand? We have become so self-aware of ourselves, and we have become so selfish in a way too. What kind of spirit are we going to be someday? If there's a life after this one, are we going to hang on to this world after we are dead? What kind of spirit are we going to left over to the rest of the world and our next generation? It's that's one is a funny way to look on everything. If it is a reality, how this reality really is about everybody have a spirit, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it's not just a question about belief. Maybe it's a question about our physical belief, maybe. I'm not totally sure on that. Maybe maybe there is not a heaven and hell in the way we think on it. Because if you understand prophecy, if you begin to understand how prophecy is, it's always about the outcome of seeing the future. If I could write a book today and it will sell very good and everybody would buy it, if I could inspire everybody out there to something that make a good sense for them to live their life, yeah, maybe they would change just a little bit. Maybe they would change a little bit if I could do it. And if I have the possibility to look in the future, maybe I could see if I write the book that the future have changed. If I could see that the future did change for writing the book, if I have the possibility to see into the future, maybe it's not so difficult to see into the future. Maybe it's a logic sense, you know? If you drive in a bad car, maybe you someday will come out of an accident. If you know the road, maybe you know someday you will not have a success on that road, maybe. So it's a logic sense, you understand, to see into the future sometimes, because the math is saying it all. So when they say it's that prophecy is a self uh, fulfilling prophecy, yeah, they are maybe a little bit right on that, but then again, they are wrong on that. If you don't give your plants water, maybe one time in every week, yeah, it will die out one day. So it's so difficult for you to look into that future and see that someday you does not have that plant in your window. It's a logic sense. You understand? If you give it water every day, maybe you see that someday it becomes too big for your window, so you have to maybe throw it out or cut it down. If you cut it down and you throw that out, maybe you can see somebody else taking that one and make a new plant, and now you have maybe somebody in your area that have the same plans like you. It's not so difficult to see into that future. If your brain is already calculating everything, it's not a self fulfilling prophecy. There's a little bit logic over it. You understand? Yes, maybe it's not correct. Maybe we have not predict something on that road in that future. And maybe that little thing will change it all. Just like looking on the stars. We could not see something that was out of what we cannot see. And if something out from that place that we cannot see is changing what we see in our own future, maybe it will change and we cannot depend on what we see in that future, even if it's a logic to see that it might be the outcome of that prophecy, because it will kind of be a prophecy, because it's logic sense. The math is saying it all. So maybe a little bit can change the math if it's not a directly vision of the future. A heaven and hell. Many says that it's here. Heaven is here and hell is here. If everybody have a spirit, everybody have a spirit. Yeah, maybe a kind of way it could maybe be true. If we somehow is stepping over in another world, because we have a spirit, maybe that world is already ruled by spirits. So if we shall believe on that, maybe it's true. Maybe there is a spirit world. I have experienced something with spirits, so I know definitely something is there. But how it really works, I cannot tell you how it really works because I'm not there. But I can guess because it's logic sense. You understand? It's logic. Just put your mind into it. Maybe to be a self-aware is not. It's maybe it's not the same in the same way. Maybe our memory is not really in working in the same way, or maybe it is, or maybe it's both. Yes and no, depending on who it is, how great spirit they have. So if you are good Let's say you are good. You're giving everybody love. You're sacrificing yourself fucking constantly. About your fucking everybody, I don't know, but I think it's a kind of love too. You're giving something to somebody else. So yes, you know what I mean. If if you're good here and you step over in a spiritual world and you are good in this life, yeah, maybe there is a place here and a place there. And if you are good here and the spirit sees you are good here, maybe they want to take you in when you go over in the other life. Maybe they already know a lot about you because they can see everything here. They can someday be in your room without you know it. They can watch you what you are doing, about you are cheating, lying, stealing, about you are sweet, about you are bad, about you are raping, about you are murdering. Maybe they will know. They always say that our family spirit will always be near in a way. Maybe they will be the witness about your presence in this life. Or maybe you really have two angels. That idea, yeah, maybe that is dependent too. Maybe people is just condemned to live this life over and over and over. And only if they make themselves aware, yeah, maybe they will be aware that maybe you should have a better life. But if your spirit keep on showing the same shit all the time, why make attention then? Yeah, maybe something else would make attention. Maybe. Maybe there is demons on the other side. We have heard a little bit about that. If we can become evil in this life, why should we not be evil in the next too then? Maybe somebody have a success to stay in the other life, feeding on our spirits maybe. I don't know how it works. And if the good guys on the other side don't really want to take you in because you have been bad, so why take you in? You're just making problems for them. So why take you in? Why helping you in the next life? So maybe they will just, yeah, they don't really care about the rest, because they're feeding on each other, maybe. I don't know how this spirit really works. Who knows? Maybe the demons knows that they can live of others' spirit. And if nobody is there to protect you in a way, yeah, maybe they will take a little bit of that life force constantly or influence you maybe to take from other and then take from you. Who knows? If they first can take from you, why not? Uh, why not get a little effort that manipulating a little bit so you take from others and then they can feed on that? So about there's a heaven and hell, yeah, maybe there is. But that was a version about spirituality after this life. I can then tell you this: heaven and hell is real. Why is it real? Because if we understand prophecy, it is a reality. It's hanging very good to the version of spirituality, life after death, and being reborn. It's a very good version about there's hell or heaven. We definitely know that both things can exist on the earth in our lives, that heaven and hell can definitely be real. That's a reality. Because if everybody erase their children on a good way and in a way that they are in a cooperation with each other, yeah, maybe there comes something good out of it. That they're not stealing from each other, all of them, and raping each other and murdering and, yeah, it's a hell for the family. It's a hell for those who is the victims. It will be a living hell on that time. If they could take you and enslave you, it would be a life in hell. So, yes, the understanding of prophecy and love is a very promised life. So, about it's a necessary thing that we have to have, that we can be born again for making the world a better place. Yeah, it's definitely dependent on a prophecy. It is dependent on it, or else it don't make sense. If you talk about love and all this shit, that's not shit. But if you talk about all these good things, maybe there's a better chance for your children. And maybe there's a better chance when someday you die out and you come back, that you come back to a better life than the life you lived before. If everybody understand love and the forgiveness and all this, then maybe you come back to heaven. Because everything will become to a success in the end. So every time you get reborn, it's just getting better and better and better because everybody is in cooperation and everybody is forgiving everybody and so on and so on and so on. And that progress can only end up with being a heaven. And maybe heaven can travel back in time and forth because of the knowledge they have achieved in cooperation and is making it into something good. See, if it was the other version, that everybody is stealing from each other and raping each other and there's this unbalance, what future will it lead to if everybody's doing it? Then you will definitely have maybe a ruler in the future ruling over everybody. Maybe he even from the knowledge have eternal life, so he will never die. So he can rule over everybody in eternity, and he can enslave everybody because he have the wealth and the money, so he can buy what he like. You understand? You understand the understanding of the words that we are making here in the corporation right here now, and the the goal of the church and what Jesus Christ is talking about, because I think he have definitely understanding of that one. But When that is said, that's history. We don't know what's true and what's not in that story, but we can look on it with new eyes today. And I can definitely say my explanation and how I see it and how I understand it, that it's just a logic sense. You're not compelled to live like that, but you shall understand if you don't choose it, what future you maybe choose to come back to. Maybe you're handing over to somebody else all that power and influence because of you are not doing good. So you actually want to come back to a life where you are born into slavery and have some satanic messiah ruling over your life. You're choosing that future by your act. It's a funny way to see it, don't you think? When that is said, you can see some religious societies that they are lying on their knees and praying to some kind of god. I think it's a false image of that future too. But it definitely shows that it can become a future, that everybody is lying on their knees for somebody who is ruling over them. So it's right and wrong to lying on your knees and pray to somebody. We could lying on our knees to remind ourselves what future it can maybe become someday. So like eating food in the church, blessing ourselves and our future to have food in the future too, and reminding us to have it. Or making love in the church, for example, that we give eternal life and have life in our next generation, and we can keep on uh, giving birth to new children and new generation. That's the ritual of prophecy, that reminding ourselves what future we want to live in. That's maybe why we need the ritual to reminding ourselves about the prophecy. But when that is said, it's not a necessary thing to go on your knees. You could just have a meditation. I think you will reach a little bit the same. But here you pray to somebody that's ruling over you. And of course, if we have somebody with higher power in a way, if we want that, yeah, maybe we are getting that someday, like a very good king that sit on, because it can become like that too. It's us that's choosing our future, depend on how we want to see it. But yes, of praying to somebody, we definitely want to have a greater king, somebody that's greater than ourselves. And maybe through a belief like that, maybe we are getting that in the end because we are choosing it. Just like a president, or like the communists have, they have like a president kind of too. But I don't think we want change. We want the constant. Oh, does we? I just think people want to have a good life, enough money. Yeah, okay. People will always have a better car than the neighbor, But if everybody just have a little bit the same, maybe they will not demand more than what they have if they have it. So what we can reach after is that everybody has nearly the same. That will maybe put some of all the bad things down if we understand what future we are making. Of course, people will always live better than the neighbor, but at least they maybe have a place to live. That's what I think. Many of the things have been misunderstood. They have prayed to the law like it was a god, the law of a kind of a Quran or Bible, because they did not understand the world that exists in our world. And it is a way of seeing on the world. Like, like people sometimes can escape from a prison, like that can exist and happen, and like that can happen. Why should it be so much different if there's a spiritual world? Maybe they can escape too sometimes, influence our lives, just like people do in real life. Of course, we don't want to have a God, because if there's a God, we have all this way of living our lives. But we already know how to live our lives. We already know what's right and wrong. Maybe not everybody. And yes, the situation can sometimes be a little bit gray. But the situation is just making our judgment that we are becoming blind to judge right if the situation is a little bit gray. But we know what is right and wrong. So even if we should not, we are maybe doing it because the situation is a little bit gray. We want justice. So the world is gray. We are living in a gray world because people sometimes lose their right judgment. Many of you out there, I think you have dreams. All of you have dreams. What dreams really is definitely a mystery. But I really think they tell us maybe more than we understand. I think they tell us a little bit about maybe the future, maybe a version of future, maybe sometimes in our past, or maybe it's examples of other kind of dimensions. Because if a spiritual world exists, if that one first exists, what kind of world could then exist besides the spiritual world after our lives? How many kind of spirituality world exist then? Then it's maybe not only about heaven and hell, but maybe all kind of worlds that we don't really understand. Maybe it's a choice where we want to end up someday. Because our world here today is a choice too, how our world tomorrow will be. I can come with one example why we choose our future. If there was no money and no kingdom, everybody have to switching around if they want to have something. Maybe you make a table at home and you could go down to the one who's catching all the fish, and maybe he need a table and you could get some fish from him. Maybe you get more than one fish and you can go other to somebody who have chicken and you can get some egg and maybe a chicken for some of the fish. See, that's how the world would be without a kingdom and without money. So everybody have choose, or everybody have accepting the kingdom to hand us money, so we today can buy the time, other people's time. So we don't have to switch our things to get something in return. Every kingdom did understood this when they put out the war to hand over the tax so the kingdom could keep on appearing. That one have we choose in this way we are living today. By time we have choose to change that kingdom just a little bit. So we have a new kingdom today. We have accepted to have a law that's handle the criminal act. If we did not accept the kingdom and the money and the law, maybe we have choose another kind of world who there was strongest, who could force their opinion through other people. We would have choose to have a ruler maybe, or maybe we did not have other choice. So it's a question about how many that's choosing the same thing. That one, I think, if you know about Jesus Christ, I think this person very much knew about that, about he exists, or it's an imagination of a person from a kingdom who did understand the terms of our life. It does not really matter. It just teaches about tomorrow. It's making us aware over what kind of world we are choosing to live in. So we choose, and that one is making everything different. That we choose. What does we choose? If we choose to sacrifice ourselves in that better good, maybe we hope that the world will receive more love if we choose to sacrifice in that better good. Maybe it's forgiveness for some act. Maybe it's to putting ourselves to the side so somebody else can receive love. It depends. But it's the concept of understanding what it's leading to. I don't think we all shall be some holy Jesus Christ churches that's going to the church every Sunday and is in this way that we always see how the members is in the church. I think it's a little bit not correct. Yeah. There's a little bit, maybe a little bit too much love, if you can say like that. It's beginning to be a little bit. There's a little bit about this that it's not real. I don't think. I think you get the impression on that it's like it's becoming too much. It's so much, so it becomes. Uh, it's feeling not natural. It don't feel real. So how is everything under the surface when they wake up? So I don't think that is the way we shall choose our church, like they see that Jesus Christ and how they believe in the words. But don't be mistaken. I think the love is real. And if you take it in your heart, maybe their act can lead to something very real for everybody. Everybody who comes before Jesus Christ does definitely show in the Bible that they was aware over the fact how the world is running around. If there's not a world yet, and you know about all the fact how the world is, why should you not make yourself to a ruler that was ruling over others? If you have the possibility to do it, why not then do it? If they don't have the understanding of claiming their part in this world, why should you not then rule it? When people becomes to be aware over that they can get a part of this world too, then the ruler will fall because they will claim it, and they will claim war against those who is ruling. If a ruler understand that they will be aware that they can claim a part in this world too, then a good ruler will understand to give them their part so they will not make war against the people who is ruling over them. If you come to a new place, you're not so many. Or maybe you are nobody at all. Maybe you are the only one. Maybe you have a success to give yourself eternal life in a way. Maybe you can make a new species under you. So you are not alone. Maybe they are not so intelligent like you because you have to mix them out of some of the animals you have take with you. Maybe you hope that someday that you can create something close to you because you come so far away. Of course, you will sit like a ruler. Of course, your children will rule over those that's possible to rule over. People will also defend their family. So everything cannot be based to dictate other people. You have to include some of them. Maybe that's our past. Maybe you understand what it have grown out from. Maybe you understand too why we don't want to go back to the old. I think everybody who want to sit down and think a little bit over the world will understand this. If you take something that don't belongs to you from somebody else, then you shall have an understanding over who you're taking it from. You shall have an understanding over what the terms will become. If there's a lot of poor, just like Robin Hood, they will, of course, complain over they have nothing and somebody have a lot. If you steal for those who have a lot, you're just making your terms better to sit in the same place with those who have a lot. So it's just about understanding. It's a logic sense. When you have Jesus Christ who's talking about to sacrifice yourself, to squeezing your flesh, maybe that knowledge you can squeeze out of your body, that knowledge will maybe lead to a better future for everybody, because it is the inspiration to reach a better future. If we can think, we can think it out. We can think it out. Not everybody can, but those who can will be sacrificed for that better good of our future. If they steal the people who can figure it out to squeezing out the knowledge from them, from those, then we are accepting that the people who are stealing from us is those who's going to rule our future. Because we are not claiming that the people who is squeezing out the knowledge, that they can get a bite of the cake. Then we are accepting that they can always take our children and squeezing out the knowledge from our children. We are accepting that. If they will argument against that they are preventing rulers, I think the terms of how we are treating everybody will make up about we are creating rulers. Somebody cannot just, when the world is already like this, they cannot just rule over everybody. You understand that? Then they should be a real God of heaven and earth and dictating everybody. Maybe then they have a real ruler. But that's just like only somebody like Moses or the white man that's sitting in the clouds that can do that. But you don't believe on that one. Maybe you will never believe on that one because maybe it's only words that's being spoken and then it happened. Was it prophecy or was it a godly hand that actually changed your world? That's your headache, not mine. What does you choose to believe in? A prophet or a God? I mean, a real God, shouldn't he just think on it and then it happening? A prophet is maybe sharing a piece from God, and that's why they are maybe knowing about it, because they're sharing it, so they will know about it. That's why they can speak about it and have a correct knowledge about what they speak about, because they share from the same source of the knowledge. But a God speak about the words, and the words will be fulfilled. Is it magic? Or some very big spiritual we cannot explain? But that headache is up to you. I just say this. I will definitely warn you. What if the case is it's God and not a prophet? But you don't want the prophet because you're scared of the Muslims. So we know that you will not allow the prophet to be free because you don't want to include the Muslim, because you don't want to go on your knees and pray to God. That's a fact. I know you're thinking like that. Maybe you will even see God as a terrorist. And maybe he is a terrorist. But what if you are living in his world? What then? This is a funny subject. If you live in his world, shouldn't you then go down on your knees? But now it's only words, so you can never be sure about he only is a prophet or he is the real thing in flesh and blood and skin and bones. So what is making him to a godly person if he really is that godly person? Isn't there standing something about that is by spirit? So you cannot really get rid of him. It's his world. He will just someday be in flesh again. Until then, he will just be a spirit in the world next to this. So it's a funny thing, don't you think? I find this it's a funny subject if it's the case. And I actually think it could be a little bit the case because I see the whole earth as one big soul. They have been grown by our earlier beings from our earlier time, rulers over the universe, growing souls out in the universe, experimenting with the souls and how they can create more souls. Maybe their time ends someday. Who knows? Maybe they get wiser, or maybe they get stupider, more stupid, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe God conquered them all and just want to settle down and rule over them all in maybe one big soul. Oh, some souls. Maybe there was more than one. Maybe God is not alone. Maybe there's gods out there ruling over their own people. I mean, the universe is definitely big, isn't it? Spirits is real and they are not walking, they are flying. So do you think it matters about there is this atmosphere like inside of Earth with this air we have inside? Or do you think they can just fly out in the universe? Maybe not. Maybe they are compelled to stay inside. Oh, yeah. So, what shall we do if God is down here? Huh? I have a suggestion. Maybe we should treat him good. I mean, if you live in his world, maybe he can just make a new world. Maybe he can just force you all to live in hell. I mean, if he rules over heaven and earth, then it's maybe up to him about you're living in a house or on the ground under an open sky. Have you think over that? Maybe he have a heart because this must be his work, I think. Don't you think? Maybe he just once in a while want to go down here and being born and just live among people, maybe. Maybe he wants to have children, see them grow up. Maybe he want to be, maybe he don't want to be a god, but just want to be the same, just like you. That's maybe he maybe make this world because he just want to be ordinary. He don't want all this fake just because she is a ruler. You understand? Maybe you have tried that in a centuries to rule over. Maybe you get tired that people always say yes. Maybe you get tired that nobody is saying no. Maybe he have really been a big devil with big horns in his head. But he could not really own their souls because they deny him. He could never feel real love because they did never fall in love with him. And the women's that fall in love with him was maybe the wrong kind of women's. But those he wanted, he could never get because they fear him. Because he ruled over everybody. He could get everything like he wanted. It's a funny thing, don't you think? So maybe you should be a little bit aware if somebody is a prophet. Maybe you should think twice before you're judging the person. What if it is the real person in flesh and bone and blood and skin? Walking next to you, just want to be a common person just like you? Want to feel real passion from other people? Not forcing them? Maybe you just want to be a humble person and poor and working his way up just like everybody else, even if he own everything. You have seen this. I think you have seen that in television with the millionaires. Oh, I think they find it very funny to be a millionaire and then go down on the level like everybody else and just pretending that they are just like everybody else. I think you have seen that in television. Oh, so there is something about this subject, don't you think? If the television knows about it, there must be something about it, don't you think? Just a little bit. So when an evil man comes up to you, like Jesus come up to Jesus and say to him, save yourself or make wine or do this, if he then did it, what would happen if he did it? Yeah, he proved himself a little bit. Maybe he was being put in a place so he had to prove himself or something else because the situation was just like that, you know. Maybe he did not want to be in that place, you know. But now he ended up like that and everything was turning out in a wrong way, maybe. Maybe, who knows? You know this? Do you know this? You know you're going to make a mistake and you're still doing it. You know that? Do you know that? And then you sit right after and thinking, shit, I knew I should not have done that. Why did I do it? I knew it. No, you want to be sure that it was the case, that you was going to be mistaken about that. You want to see it with your own eyes, you know? You cannot just believe that it's the case. No, you want to experience that it's the case is that it really went wrong for you. Yeah. Guess where you have it from, maybe. Yeah, I mean, you come somewhere. You come from somebody, don't you think? If you knew it, why did you not act different? If you knew it, maybe you're doing it next time. Now you have already experienced it. It was not enough for you that you know it. No, you had to experience it. Let's hope you can change it if there comes a next time. But it's not all cases there will be a next time. You understand? Yeah, of course, when God comes down here in flesh, of course, he will say, I am the one. And then, of course, they will say, yeah, prove it. And then he's proving it. And that's not enough to prove. When is it enough? When does they believe? They will never believe. That's just the case. No matter how many proof there will be, they will never believe. It's a sad, sad thing. Because, I mean, if he is in flesh, I think he comes here not just for living out a normal life. Oh yeah, maybe it is that. He come here for living a normal life. To get all that everybody else have. I mean, haven't he sit up there and see, or haven't he stand next to you when he have seen how wonderful you all have it, even if you have a rough day? Maybe. Maybe he admire that room for what people have together. Maybe he wants to experience itself and not just standing next and watching over your shoulder. Just like a illusion, like when you see television. Hey, you all know that one because you all have seen many movies and theaters and all kind of dream experience that you wish it was you living there. I know definitely you are doing that because or else you will not look at it. That's just the case. You will simply not look at that one if you did just not have just a little bit of that feeling. You could not stand it out if you did not feel like that. Yeah, okay, maybe you are sharing something with other people in that room and that's why you're looking at it. Maybe. Now you get so used to look at it. You get so used to look at the television. So you don't even think over what you maybe are watching anymore because you get so used to it. You get so used to this screen and these images that's running over that screen. That's a funny thing. I think, does you think you have it in the same way if you stand in your room? Do you think you have seen it over and over and over again and getting so tired of it? That's a funny way to see it, don't you think? The worst thing is that is maybe the part of those who really want his world, you know. Maybe they really try to hold him away from that life he want to have down here. That's the worst thing. That is those people who think they know better just because they want his thing, they want his world. Maybe you can really call them demons, spirits that break out of the prison, maybe. Who knows? Or stupidity of man who just think they know better. Maybe there is a demon that have talk in their ear. Yeah, it was just a little bit about that. So be careful who you judge out there. Maybe you're judging the wrong one. You will never know. That's actually a funny thing too, because you know this? Actually, everybody have your life in their hands. Did you know that? No matter how big or good you are, everybody have your life in their hands. Did you know that? Are you thinking on that? I don't think you're thinking on that because you don't really care. So next time you're showing somebody what you feel and you don't feel good about the person or something like that, I just want to remind you over that that person, if that person did not care either, then we don't know about you had your life tomorrow because that person could actually have your life in that person's hands. And you know it's the case because it's happening every day all over the world that their life is being taken by other people. You don't really know what's going on in their head. If you know better, yeah, if you know better and you know what's going on in their head, maybe you could allow yourself to be rude over them, yes, if you really know that. If you know the day tomorrow too. But let me give you advice if you don't know that. Maybe you should treat other people like you want to be treated, even if you don't share the same thoughts or the same opinions. Why is that? Because other people can actually have your life in their hands. It's just the case. Doesn't matter about you are a policeman or a lawyer or, or maybe you are a criminal person selling drugs every day. Or maybe you are a mother or a father. Or maybe you're just an asshole. I just want to remind you of that you don't live alone in this world and you don't know what's going on in people's mind. Maybe it's standing on murder every fucking day. And the only thing that they are not murdering people is maybe that they will feel guilty if they does and maybe they will be caught. So just think twice next time you allow yourself to be rude over for other people. Just think twice because you never know about they have your life in their hands. If they suddenly don't care about feeling guilty, not to preventing that murder that their brain is standing on every fucking day, maybe. If they don't feel that guiltiness or scared of tomorrow, if that's suddenly disappear, who knows? We never know what then happens. If they're sitting behind, if they're sitting inside in a car and you're walking, maybe You should not be rude. You never know about suddenly it's driving into them, if they are in a car. Or you never know about they will jump on you and trying to choke your ass. But we don't think so far. We think we can conquer the world and nothing evil is happening to us because our lives is not in other people's hands. But I can tell you, it is. It is every day in other people's hands. If they want to murder you, maybe they have all kind of chances to do it everywhere. You never know. If you have your back to somebody else, you never know. You cannot know if they want to take your life. It would be easy for them, maybe. You never know. You cannot know. Your life is in other people's hands. So we are all together on this. And maybe if there's a God, maybe he's just trying to prove a little bit how much all of your lives is in his hands. So if you treat him like this, maybe he will treat you like that. That's just a little bit to the reminder. Your life is always in other people's hands. If you live alone in this world, it might not be.